Boy, college football in the state of South Carolina is down bad, ain't it? Clemson and South Carolina just can't get out of their own way. And these two coaches, Shane Beamer and Dabo Swinney, I want to talk about them here, and I would give a prediction on Clemson versus Miami and South Carolina versus Mizzou. Let's start with if you don't know, Dabo Swinney hates his own fans. He gave a quote the other. He was asked about some of Clemson's struggles this year, whatever, already losing 2 games, all that kind of stuff. And basically, what Dabo said was, maybe I should lose a few more games so we can get rid of some of these bandwagons. And he's done this before. So anyway, we'll talk about what Dabo said and how he hates his own fans. And Shane Beamer getting so damn mad after a loss at home to Florida last weekend. He kicked a wall or whatever. He kicked something and broke his damn foot. And then he came out and gave a press conference to announce that he had a broken foot, where he giggled and laughed like a 9-year-old girl. It was just a terrible look. We'll talk about both of those things, and I'll give you a prediction on those 2 games. Let's start with the Clemson side. Dabo has an issue of saying some dumb things in press conferences, in my opinion. But this might be the worst. The worst one yet. Dabo is a victim of his own success at this point. He elevated Clemson to a point where the fans have the expectations they do. And, let's start with this. There is no coach on planet Earth of any team anywhere that is above criticism. There is no perfect coach. There is no coach that never makes mistakes. There is no coach that has earned the right to never be second-guessed about anything ever again. That just doesn't exist. This is sports. We're fans. That's what fans do, okay? Dabo Swinney's attitude towards criticism is, first of all, he just doesn't take criticism very well, okay? Dabo has made a series of decisions over his time at Clemson that both benefited Clemson to a huge degree in the late 20-teens, 2014, 2015, up through around 2020. They made a bunch of playoffs. They won a bunch of ACC titles. They won 2 national titles because of decisions Dabo Swinney made. He was a great coach and is a great coach. He instilled and nurtured a certain culture at Clemson that worked, and it caught on, and they won a lot of games and 2 national titles. College football has changed since then. Dabo has not. That's just a reality. Now, that's a whole separate issue. Where's Clemson headed? Will Dabo change? Won't he change? Is he going to adapt to the portal? Oh, that's a different... Let's talk specifically about what he said here. He doesn't want fans criticizing him, is what he said. And if you do criticize him, you're just a bandwagon fan. This is insanity. This is absolute insanity. The idea that a coach cannot be criticized, and if he is, the fan that criticizes him is a bandwagon fan. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of fans that agree with Dabo. We all know these people. You have whatever fan you're a team of, you have a large percentage of fans in that fan base who think everything your team does is perfect and great and they cannot be criticized for any reason. You can recognize these fans easily because they make responses like this. Oh, I guess you can coach better? That kind of thing. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Criticizing a head coach does not make you a bandwagon fan. And Dabo went so far as to suggest that maybe he should purposely lose some games to thin out his herd, or whatever he said, to thin out the bandwagon herd, or whatever he said. Just a terrible, just horrible. Some of the Clemson fans criticizing Dabo Swinney are some of Clemson's biggest supporters, emotionally and financially. Who do you think pays for all this stuff that these colleges get? Yeah, I know the networks are paying them a lot of money, but apparently it's not enough, because every time you turn around, these universities have their hand out. They want the fans to pay more, pay more, pay more. I got news for you. This is something a lot of people don't know. These coaching salaries are not paid by the school. The school pays a baseline salary, $200,000. The rest of a coach's salary is paid by donations. For for Swinney to come out and say this about his own fans is just crazy. I have never in my lifetime walked up to somebody and said, hey, what fan are you a team of? Or what fan are you a team of? What team are you a fan of? And they looked at me and went, Dabo Swinney. No, they say Clemson. I've never walked up to somebody and asked them what team they were a fan of, and they looked at me and they said, Kirby Smart. No, they're Clemson fans. They were Clemson fans before Dabo got there. They'll be Clemson fans after Dabo's gone. Have you ever seen a Clemson helmet? Let me show it to you. It's right here. And I could do this example with every single helmet on this wall. This is a Clemson helmet. You see that on the side? That's a paw. That's not a picture of Dabo Swinney. There's a G on this helmet. Not a picture of Kirby Smart. We're fans of the team. We can criticize the head coach. Does it make anybody any less of a fan? For Dabo Swinney to stand up there, high and mighty, looking down at and talking down to the very people who have given him the life that he leads now, is despicable and ridiculous. If you criticize me, you're a bandwagon fan? What is wrong with him? Look, Clemson is still a good team. 5 years ago, they were great. It's within a fan's right to question, why are we now only good? What has happened between 5 years ago and now? Clemson was clearly a better program 5 years ago than they are now. To ignore that, either as a fan or even worse, as a head coach, is mind-blowing and stupid. You should wake up every single day as a head coach going, what can I do to get better? What are we doing that's not working? What are we doing that's wrong? Where can we improve? Where do changes need to be made to improve both the current team and the overall trajectory and arch of the program? These are overarching questions that should be asked every day by a head coach. There's nothing wrong with a fan asking them. I'm sure if I look hard enough, I can find some Clemson fan somewhere that wants Dabo Swinney fired, but which even that is within a fan's right, by the way. Of course, a fan can say, you know what, I think our coach should be fired. A fan has a right to say that. Whether he's right or wrong is a debatable point, but a fan has a right to think that his coach should be fired. It happens all the time. The debate is not whether or not a fan thinks a coach should be fired. The debate is he going to be fired? And in Dabo's case, he's not. He's not getting fired. But look, Clemson is clearly not where they were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. They're not. And it is perfectly fine and acceptable for a fan to either think to himself, wonder out loud, talk to his friends about, or type on the internet about, hey, what's going on with Clemson? Why do we get blown out by Duke? Why do we have 2 losses halfway through the season? Why are we 6, 7 weeks into the season and we're already out of the race for the ACC title? Why did we win the ACC 7, 8, 9 years in a row and now we're not winning it? Why did we make the playoffs a bunch of times and now we can't make it? Why did we have a really good offense for 5 or 6 years and now we can't get a first down? Those are legitimate questions for fans to ask. Dabo should be asking those same questions. To talk down to the fan base, to literally bite the hand that feeds you, is ridiculous. I'm not saying that a coach has to like everything that is said by the fans, but sometimes, Dabo, it's better to shut your mouth and not say anything at all than it is to criticize, look down on, and talk down to your own fan base. The very fans that are filling that stadium in Clemson every single Saturday. The very fans that are sending in their donations all year long so that they can get the privilege of purchasing Clemson season tickets. The very fans that are sending in $50, $100, $200, $500 that they can't afford to give you every single month when Clemson sends out a donation email to their million email database of fans. You're talking down to those, you're calling those people bandwagon fans because they want to know, why were we a 10 out of 10 5 years ago and we're a 7 out of 10 now? Which is a legitimate question to ask. 100%. This is bad. Clemson on the road at Miami. I had Clemson in this one. I was ready to pick Clemson. I'm probably still going to pick Clemson. But Dabo's talking about purposely losing games to get rid of his bandwagons. Does he start this Saturday on the road at a half-empty Hard Rock Stadium in South Beach against the Miami team coming off back-to-back losses? They're only 2 losses of the season, an embarrassment home loss to Georgia Tech, the whole take-a-knee deal. And then, not even all that competitive really last week against North Carolina. I mean, it was clear North Carolina was the better team in that one from start to finish. Back-to-back losses. Now Miami's back home. Tyler Van Dyke, who looked so good in the first half of the season, now can't stop throwing interceptions the last 2 games. I'm going with Clemson to win down there at Miami, but I'm not going to be shocked if Miami pulls this out because we already know Dabo's looking to purposely lose games to thin out the herd of bandwagons that for whatever reason he's sick of having around, I guess. So, but I'm going to take Clemson. Now, on to South Carolina, who plays on the road this week at Missouri. Battle of the Columbias, Columbia, South Carolina, Columbia, Missouri. Columbia, Missouri wins that battle 10 out of 10 times. Columbia, South Carolina is a cesspool. It might be the worst college. Well, it is the worst college town I've ever been to. No doubt. No question. And I've been to a lot of them. It's by far the worst college town I've ever been to. But the football game is a separate issue. South Carolina coming off of a heartbreaking loss on homecoming at home last week to Florida. A team they're better than. South Carolina's better than Florida. South Carolina had them beat. South Carolina had twice as many rushing yards in that game as Florida did, and they let Graham Mertz have a career day. Florida came back from 10 points down in the fourth quarter of that one and beats Florida. Or beat South Carolina. Huge win for Florida on the road and Billy Napier, one they really needed. And the season is slipping away from Shane Beamer and the South Carolina Gamecocks. They've lost way too many games already at this point in the season, and they still got several more losses to come, most likely, including this weekend on the road at Columbia. But what did Shane Beamer do after the game? Well, he held a press conference yesterday, and he hobbles out to the podium, and he's like, before anybody asks, it's true. You see me kind of hobbling around. I got the boot on my foot and everything, and so I figured I'd just go ahead and tell y'all right now before you just you spend all week asking about it, or after the Missouri game or whatever, and you ask me about it. I figured I'd just go ahead and let you know, so so you don't have to ask me about it. And this is how he's acting the whole time, just giggling like he can't wait to tell this joke or whatever he's about to, like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, well, after that loss to Florida, I was a little upset, and and I've already talked to the athletic director about it, and I've already done all that, but it is true, I did kick something that I probably shouldn't have kicked. And I broke my foot because I got mad after the game and kicked something. Well, I didn't get mad. He actually said that. I didn't get mad, though. I didn't do it because I'm mad. I don't have some kind of temper problem. I'm not a hothead. I'm just very passionate about my team, And he's giggling and carrying on and doing the whole stand-up comedy routine. And, oh, look at me. Let me put my dunce cap on. I'm here for your humor. You remember the line from Goodfellas where the guy tells Joe Pesci, he's like, hi. Joe Pesci tells a joke, and the guy sitting across from him goes, he's laughing, and oh my God, you're so funny. And Joe Pesci's like, what do you mean I'm funny? What, I'm funny? What funny? How? Like, I'm a clown? I'm here to amuse you? That's Shane Beamer. He's out here. It's like it's stand-up night at the Apollo Theater every time Shane Beamer comes out. And the thing is, when South Carolina is winning games, when things are going well, maybe you get a big commit to sign, and you come out and talk about whatever, then that kind of goofy, kind of backwoods, aw shucks, sort of, dollar store, Andy Griffith routine, it goes over okay in those situations. When you can't win a football game, when you're getting humiliated by a bad Florida team at home on homecoming, when you blow a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter to a bad team and lose, that's not the time to come out with the aw shucks, giggle, 9-year-old girl, everything is funny, stand-up comedy routine. Then you come out 2 days later to announce you got a broken foot and you can't stop fucking giggling. It's not funny, man. It's not funny. And I don't care that you kicked something and broke your foot. Hell, there's been plenty of Georgia games that have ended and I've wanted to punch or hit something and I might have a time or two. How many TVs have I broke? That'd be my suggestion to you, Shane. Look into buying some extra TVs, have them laying around, and the next time your team shits the bed against a team you should beat and gets a humiliating home loss against a terrible team, instead of kicking a concrete wall or whatever you did and breaking your foot, just get you out a hammer or whatever you need and break a damn TV or something. That's what I do. There's nothing wrong with you. You should be mad. You should have been mad after that game. You should have still been mad at the press conference you gave yesterday or the day before, whatever it was, instead of giggling the whole time and telling a knock-knock joke about how you broke your foot. Missouri's got one loss. They look like they might be the second best team in the East. I don't know, them or Tennessee. Some people are going to say, oh, South Carolina back against the wall. South Carolina's back against the wall since the season started. They're not winning this game on the road at Missouri. Sorry, I'm going to take Mizzou to win. I think it might be a good game, a close game. I think this would be a great game, quarterback game. Spencer Rattler for Carolina's having a good year. Brady Cook, is that his name? The guy for Missouri. Luther Burden, maybe the best wide receiver in the SEC. He's at top 2 or 3 for sure. And Missouri's on a roll. They still only got one loss, which was that back-and-forth track meet loss they took to LSU a couple of weeks ago. But I think Missouri keeps on rolling and gets another win. I'm off the South Carolina hype train. South Carolina's football program is more broke than Shane Beamer's foot.